Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome the members of council staff and members of the public to our May 9th council meeting and call this meeting to order. This time, I'd like to call upon Mr. Pearson, Clerk Operations Clerk, for the disclaimer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that is that council members, staff, and guests, and members of the public are advised that the council account controlling meetings are being audio and video recorded and will be posted on Crown Controlling YouTube, along with the official written minutes on our website. As such, comments and opinions expressed may be published, and any comments expressed by individual council members, guests, and members of the public are their own and do not represent the opinions or comments of the town controller as a whole, and or the council of the town controller. The recorded video of the full council meeting is not considered the official record of that meeting. The official record of the council meeting shall consist solely of the minutes approved by the council of the town of Petrolia.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. At this time, I'd like to call again Mrs. Pearson for the roll call, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councilor Dayton.
Present.
Councilor Field.
Present.
Councilor O'Hara.
Present.
Councilor Purdy.
Present.
Councilor Such.
Present.
Councilor Weldon.
Present.
Mayor Loosely.
Present.
We have a quorum, Your Worship.
Thank you. And just before we move on, I just want to mention Mr. Charlotte Moore, our CAO treasurer. The reason it's empty is he tested positive and will remain at home for a short time. We wish him a speedy recovery. At this time, I'd like to call upon council to declare a conflict of interest, to do so now or at the appropriate time on the agenda and fill the necessary paperwork. Seeing none, we have an agenda before you. I'd like to adopt that. I'll ask for a mover to seconder and put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councilor Field, seconded by Councilor Such. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to adopt as presented at the May 9th, 2022 regular meeting of council agenda.
Any questions or additions? Council? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to the minutes of the council meeting held on April 25th. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve those minutes, and I'll need a mover and seconder to put it on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councilor Welton, seconded by Councilor Purdy. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to adopt as circulated minutes of the regular meeting of council held on April 25th, 2022.
Any errors or omissions? I'll call the vote. All those in favor of that, approving those minutes, opposed, that motion carries. Thank you. And moving on, we have the minutes of a public information meeting regarding Valentina Street reconstruction held on April 25th. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to receive and file those notes. Moved by Councilor O'Hara, seconded by Councilor Field, and I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file notice of public information session held on April 25th, 2022.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That moves us on to the inspirational message. And first, for tonight, we have Councilor Dayton, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The secret of life, though, is to fall 7 times and get up 8 times. Powell Coelho, told me.
I can relate to that. Thank you. Moving on to our council roundtable announcements. Tonight, first on our list to start is Councilor Field, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I attended in your place at County Council, and I thank you for the opportunity to do that. I found it very informative preparing for the County Council meeting. The process that they go through, I just felt it was a great opportunity and appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilor Field. I will also mention later, I certainly appreciate you filling in for me. It was the first time in almost 4 years, so thank you for that. Councilor Welton.
I think at this time, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councilor Dayton.
I'd like to just say I'm happy to be back and glad to see everybody in person for a change.
Thank you. Councilor O'Hara.
Yes, I attended the grand opening at Citizens Nursery on your behalf. And I also went to the banquet for the Optimist for their 40th anniversary. It was really well attended on your behalf again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Hara. I also mentioned, I certainly appreciate you filling in for me. Councilor Sash. Thank you. Councilor Murray.
Thank you, Your Worship. Lady Ward, in your absence, I had the pleasure of helping to dedicate the J.H. Fairbank Fire Training Center. Part of that process. It was nice to see his namesake, his great grandson Charlie, and his wife Pat there, and Chief Barnes and some of the volunteers. It was a nice, could have been a little nicer weather-wise, but thank you for bringing this back to Florida.
You're welcome, but thank you for filling in for me. I know that was a great event. I will speak to that. I just have a couple items. As you know, I've been away, but I just wanted to mention again. On Wednesday, April the 27th, I attended with all those involved with the announcements of almost $12 million to go towards the water intake line replacement at a water treatment plant. Special thanks again to the federal government, Mr. Bob Bailey, representing the provincial government, the township of Dominicania, village of Royal Springs, and township of Enniskillen for their involvement in obtaining the grant. Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, Mrs. Larissa Ellsworth, Director of Marketing, Arts and Communication, and all the staff and individuals involved. It was a great event enjoyed by all and good for the town and surrounding municipalities involved with this very important project. I also attended the retirement for Mrs. Jane Enema, Executive Director for the Sarnia Petroleum and Municipality of Brook Allison Community Foundation, held in Sarnia on Wednesday, April 27th. It was a wonderful event, and I presented her on behalf of council in the town of Petrolia a painting of Victoria Hall, and she was thrilled with that painting. Again, as mentioned earlier, special thanks to Councilor Field, Bertie and O'Hara for filling in for me while I was away. The first time I've been away for 6 days in all 2 years, and it was great. I would like to acknowledge and thank the retirement of Mr. Rob Pine from the Greenwood Recreation Center in his work in our parks and downtown. I would like to wish him well and state that he will certainly be missed. That's all I have. We'll move on to correspondence for information. We have A to G, unless council wishes to pull any certain items out, I'll ask for a motion on the floor to receive and file items A and C. Moved by Councilor O'Hara, seconded by Councilor Dayton. And I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And that is for the council of the town of Troy to receive and file correspondence items 9A through G. And actually, I'm sorry, 8A through G.
Thank you. Any questions from council? I'll call all those in favor of receiving and filing those items. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And we have correspondence for your consideration from an Ashley Pajamas. And I'll just ask what council's wishes are. I think you've had a chance to read that request. And I'd like to ask you for direction. Councilor O'Hara.
Well, it's certainly a hard luck story, you know, I think you have to read things like that. But I wish there was something we could do. You can't just forgive it. Possibly we could delay it a bit and without interest, I'm not sure. Now, did the town cut this tree or was it a contract?
Okay, I'm gonna ask for a motion to put it on the floor to open it up for discussion, so we could have a motion to approve it, receive and file it, whatever your wishes. Councilor Such?
I'll make a motion.
All right, do you want to put it on the floor to receive and file? I need a seconder for that. Seconded by Councilor Field. Okay, Councilor O'Hara, go ahead.
Well, you know, like I said, it's a hard luck story. I was that for them, hate having to see things like that happen. I don't feel that we can just, forgive the bill. I don't even know how much it's for.
I think, by just getting back to your question, Mr. Thompson, did we cut that tree down? It was in their backyard.
Yes, it was in the backyard of the town.
Okay. Is there an amount? Do you know what it was?
I was never involved in this, but I believe this property stands just used to the county. The First time I heard about it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Councilor Dyton,
So the bill is not from the county.
the county acted on our behalf of their property standards, so they're charged, and then they tell us what the charge is, and we send out the bill, that's my understanding. So the county worked on our behalf,
Okay. We sent out the bill,
yes,
but we don't know how much it was. $200?
okay, thank you.
Oh,
I think the concern is there's precedent we have to watch as well here, because there's other areas, and I know other area people have hard times as well. So,
it's only $200. I withdraw my statement.
Councilor Dyton,
Worship, is it possible that we can work out a payment plan and possibly delay this a little bit until, say, every quarter she can pay on it or something along that line? I'm not saying what it would be, I'm just saying that I think that something can be done to help this out because of the extenuating circumstances.
yeah, Councilor Dyton, CAO treasurer, yes, that can be done. Councilor Mayor,
I believe that if she doesn't pay, it'll just go on her taxes, right?
that's correct. Councilor Such,
I'd like to maybe see if payment arrangements. We don't know everybody's situation.
I can certainly speak to the CAO treasurer, and I'm sure, because we've done that with others, but work out some arrangement for you. Okay. What the clerk is saying is we can approve the receipt and file motion that's on the floor, and then have a separate motion to put on the payment plan for the. Is that okay? So we'll vote on the receipt and file first. All in favor of receiving and filing, that motion carries. Now I'll ask for a motion to work out a payment plan. Councilor, moved by Councilor Dyton, seconded by Councilor Purdy. Any discussion regarding that? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That moves us on to delegations and presentations. We don't have any tonight. Community announcement and recognition and awards. And you have a list before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to approve that motion. Moved by Councilor Welton, seconded by Councilor Purdy.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive as information only, the May 9th, 2022 community announcements as presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Mrs. Ellsworth, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, your worship. Just that we're excited to welcome our first audience back to Victoria Hall.
That's great news. I'm going to mention that later too. Thank you. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. That moves us on to the first opportunity for the public to address council. And I'll ask Mrs. Pearson, do we have anyone registered to address council at this time?
I know, your worship, get people registered to taking care of the first 2 hours of our evening.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the financial accounts report, we don't have anything this meeting, but we'll come to the next meeting. Item number 14, we have a report from Mr. Rick Charlebois, CEO Treasurer, regarding the long-term debt analysis. I'll request a move and a seconder to put the motion on the floor for discussion. Move and a seconder, moved by Councilor Sutt, seconded by Councilor Dyton. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file the report and the CAO treasurer dated 9th of May, 2022 regarding long-term debt amounts.
And before I turn it over to council, I just wanted to mention to council, when we started here, there was over $90 million in debt. By the end of this year, this council has brought it down to $7.1 million. So good work, everyone. I'll open it up to council. Is there any discussion regarding the long-term debt? I'll ask Mrs. Strand, do you have anything you would like to add? Thank you. All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And we have a report from Mr. Rick Charlotte, CAO Treasurer, regarding the 2022 first quarterly financial report. And I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councilor Purdy, seconded by Councilor Such. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the CAO treasurer dated May 9th, 2022 regarding the budget 2022 first quarter Q1 financial results.
Any questions or discussions from council? I just want to mention for council's information, I was informed that we did come in last year approximately $120,000 under budget, which is great news. So I just wanted to let you know. Mrs. Strand, do you have anything you'd like to add? Glad to hear that. Thank you. All right. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And we have a report from Mr. Rick Charlotte, CAO Treasurer, regarding single source vendor approval. I'll ask for a mover and a second to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councilor Field, seconded by Councilor Purdy. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the CAO treasurer dated May 9th, and the Council of the Town of Petrolia approved the PSD citywide proposal to update our 2017 town asset management plan and improve the data integrity of our citywide asset registry in the amount of $39,500.
Any questions from council? Then I'll ask Mrs. Strand, do you have anything you'd like to add? Thank you. All right, call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll move us on to water, wastewater. We have nothing to report tonight. Operations, we have nothing. Community services and facilities, we have a report from Mr. Dave Menzies, Director of Facilities and Community Services, regarding the Petroleum Innisfield Agricultural Society fall fair approvals. We've got a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councilor Field, seconded by Councilor Walton. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse the report of the Director of Facilities and Community Services dated the 9th of May 2022 in regards to granting Petroleum and Agricultural Society an exemption to the noise bylaw, upgrading and significant community event status for their annual fall fair on September 9 and 11 of 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. It's so nice to have some of these events happening in person again. Any questions from council? Mr. Menzies, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm just gonna apologize to council for discussing September, but some of these easy reports we can get out of the way, it's gonna be a very busy summer.
We welcome that. Yeah, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. We also have a report from Mr. Dave Menzies, Director of Facilities and Community Services, regarding road closure for Pizza Fest. And I'll ask for a mover and a second to put that motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councilor Field, seconded by Councilor Welton. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse the report of the Director of Facilities and Community Services dated May 9, 2022 regarding the events team request to close Bloomfield Street from Petroleum Line to Walnut Street and South Parking Lane to Petroleum Line between Greenfield Street and Wingfield Street on Saturday, June 4th, from 7 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. for the annual Pizza Fest event.
Any questions from council? We all like pizza. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed, that motion carries. Continuing on, we have a report again from Mr. Dave Menzies, Director of Facilities Community Services regarding contribution agreement with the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. We'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor, please. Moved by Councillor Dyton, seconded by Councillor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt a report of the Director of Facilities and Community Services dated May 9th, 2022, regarding the mayor and CIO to sign a contribution agreement with the Federal Economic Development Agency of Southern Ontario, known as FEDDA, in regards to the Canada Community Revitalization Fund grant, and that $233,000 is taken from the working capital reserves balance of project, and that MIT Engineering, the appointed project manager and consultant, and that council endorsed the bylaw included with the council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Again, this was great news, and I want to thank Mr. Menzies and the staff for this. I'll open it up first to any questions from council. If you had a chance to read the proposal on some of this, it's exciting. Councilor Field.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is very exciting for the town, and very exciting for backyard, I'll say, backyard ideas around the community center. I think it's just going to, as we're a growing community, and add to what we're offering for Parks and Rec. So this is great to be able to have this type of grant and to be able to do some of the work.
Thank you, Councilor Field. Any other members of council? Again, this is great news. Mr. Menzies, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is not the official announcement. That announcement will come shortly, but it is how the federal government works to get approval. So everybody knows about the grant, and then officially make another announcement here very shortly. So appreciate council support. Look forward to getting this project done since they've given us about 11.5 months to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Menzies. Okay, all those in favor of that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And we have a report again from Mr. Dave Menzies, Director of Facilities Community Service regarding tender results, mechanical work for Victoria Hall 2021-2022. You have a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councilor Dyton, seconded by Councilor Purdy. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse the recommendations from the Victoria Hall HVAC project manager, and that the Director of Facilities and Community Services in this report dated May 9th, 2022, regarding the awarding of mechanical work as listed in the RFQ for Sergeant Plumbing and Mechanical in the amount of $398,750 plus HST.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any questions from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to administration, we have a report from Mrs. Mandy Pearson, Clerk of Operations Clerk, regarding animal control services, which is the Glencoe Animal Shelter. We have a motion before you. I'll ask for a move second. Put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councilor Walton, seconded by Councilor Dyton. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the Clerk Operations Clerk report dated May 9th, 2022, regarding notice of retirement and ceaseless services with the Glencoe Animal Shelter.
Before I turn it over to council, I'll just mention, she's been with this municipality since roughly 1997, but she took over from her father, who actually ran this, and he was hired back in the 80s. And they've been a great service to this community for a number of years. So I certainly want to thank her for her work over the years, what she's done for looking after this town. I'll open it up to council, any discussion, council. If not, all those in favor of the motion? motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us to fire, emergency management, and public safety. There is nothing tonight. Marketing, arts, and communications, we have nothing to report tonight. We will not be going into closed session tonight. That brings us to the second opportunity for the public to address council. Is there anyone wishing to address council?
She's.
I gathered that, but thanks for waiting. Seeing none, we'll move on to new and unfinished business. Before you, we have a table item that's been tabled regarding the police request. There also was a letter that was sent in, but before we can do anything, we can either leave it, or if you wish to discuss it, we'll need a motion to lift it from the table or leave it. What is council's wishes? All right, we'll leave it, we'll carry on. Consideration of bylaws. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to approve and have the bylaws for the first and second time. Moved by Councilor Welton, seconded by Councilor Dyton. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the first and second reading, opposed, that carries. And a motion to read the bylaws a third time, signed, sealed, and numbered. In order, moved by Councilor Field, seconded by Councilor Purdy. And now we'll ask the clerk to read those bylaws, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that is for bylaw number 19 of 2022, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Troy to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Ontario, hereby represented by the Minister responsible for Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario and the corporation of the town of Petroleum to receive funding through the Southern Ontario Prosperity Program, the Canada Community Revitalization Fund, to help communities, cities, and towns build and improve their infrastructure to bring people back to public shared spaces safely and to create jobs and stimulate local economies as they recover from the social and economic disruptions associated with COVID-19 outbreak. We read a third time and finally passed. And that bylaw number 2020 of 2022, being a bylaw of the corporation of Town of Petroleum to confirm resolutions and motions of the Council of the Town of Petroleum, which were adopted up to and including May 9th, 2022. We read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any questions regarding those bylaws? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. And before I ask for a motion for adjournment, I want to remind everyone, like Mrs. Ellsworth, our theater opens tomorrow, which is great news for the Roaring 20s. If you haven't got a ticket, please get one and please support our theater. Thank you. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilor Dyton, seconded by Councilor Purdy. I'll have the clerk read that motion, please.
And that is for the May 9th, 2022 meeting of the Council of the Town of Petroleum to be adjourned to the next regular scheduled meeting of council to be held on Tuesday, May 24th, 2022, or at call the chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, everyone.